Hello, hello. Welcome to the Creatively Carmen podcast, episode 2. This podcast is a space where we talk about things that light me up, such as spirituality, the universe, the mind, the soul, creativity, all of that juicy stuff. All the things that will expand your mind, your consciousness, and just have you feel and think maybe a little bit differently, or just make you feel something that you have never felt before. I'm really excited that you're here. Thank you for listening to the second episode and bearing with me as I record into this pair of headphones that I brought with me on my travels. This is as good as it gets for now. I will be definitely investing into some fancy podcast equipment when I get home. But for now, this is what we have. I'm doing my best to edit out the background noise and make myself sound as good as possible, but bear with me for the next few months and I will be sounding like a professional podcaster. I'm very excited for that. Well, yeah, so thank you to everybody who gave me some beautiful feedback from my last episode, my very first episode. I'm so happy that people were watching it or listening to it, and actually some people listened to it more than once, which is amazing. I can't believe that. I'm so blessed that, that I've been, that this has been going better than I thought. And I have high expectations for this podcast for sure, but more so in the long run. Like, I didn't really expect much of it. Like, I didn't really have too many expectations of what would happen after the first episode, but whatever those were, I was pleasantly surprised that people actually were downloading and listening and caring what I have to say. So that makes me really happy. So thank you everybody for letting me know how you enjoyed that. That last episode, the first episode, if you haven't heard it, it's about presence, is the kind of topic I discuss, but I kind of also just get into what I'm up to out here. So if you're curious about what I'm actually doing out here in Southeast Asia, or like why I'm out here, how long I'm out here, you can listen to that first episode. I won't go into it all again, but essentially, I'm just traveling for until the end of the year. I come back at the end of December, back home. But yeah, I'm just going to continue podcasting my experience out here and just things that come to my mind while I'm traveling. And I've been having some amazing conversations about, oh my gosh, all of these things that I've been talking about, that I want to talk about on here, with people I've met. I've met just such amazing people who have a really interesting grasp of life, so different from anybody I've met before. And I am all for it. I'm just loving it. I'm loving the people I'm meeting out here, and they're inspiring me so much. So much so that I have already 40 podcasts planned. So I'll do one every week, but I have the next 40 weeks planned out. Don't know what the order will be there, but I have them all written down and I just keep adding to them because I just keep having all these ideas. Like I mentioned in the last one, like my mind has just been so clear and open and receiving all of this, all of these ideas that I want to talk about, and I get so excited. So yeah, 40 episodes. And I cannot wait to share them with you. I'm not going to spoil any of them ahead of time. But let's just, get into the episode 2, which is about risk taking. So I actually filmed this kind of like the first episode. Like, I filmed it live on Instagram, and I was going to post it on here. But it was such a bitch getting the first episode from Instagram onto my laptop to edit it and put it up. All of that was just redonkulous. So I'm not going to try and do that again. Also, it was only like 6 minutes, and it wasn't like I had distractions going on and stuff. So I don't think it was actually the best episode. So I'm just going to redo it. It's really not that much to redo. So I think I can do a better job here now that I'm kind of way more prepared and ready to go. But yeah, so I guess I'll just, continue with how I'm feeling, because I think every episode I just want to also just check in and give an update on how my mind is doing, how I'm feeling, my state of consciousness that I've been just raving about. Like, I just want to give an update. Not too different from the last episode. I feel just still in complete zen, and it's been like 1 week now without Emily, and so it's just been me at the house where I'm volunteering. So just me and the person I'm staying with are here in this huge house, and it's amazing, right on the beach. It's just, so I've been painting murals. I just finished the first mural that I made for him a few days ago on Friday. So I'm starting the second mural. I'm going to probably try and paint as many as I can before I leave. I also don't know exactly when I'm leaving this exact spot. It depends on visa situation and whatever, but so I'm going to keep painting murals. The first one, it just was so much fun. It turned out amazing. If you want to see it, you can go look on my Instagram. It's very trippy. It kind of reflects all of the things that I've been so immersed out here, like transcendence, consciousness, the chakras, meditation is like kind of, those are all the words that I would say describe this mural. It's beautiful. I'm really happy with it. Anyway, so that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm doing now. Life's still great. I'm so happy out here. And let's get into risk taking, because I wouldn't even be here if I didn't have this, if I didn't take risks. If I didn't take the risk to come out here, I would be at home. I would be doing whatever, God knows what I'd be doing. But I took a risk to extend my travels significantly and go traveling solo. This trip was supposed to be 2 months long originally. And like I said, I came with my boyfriend our plan was to go to Thailand, and that's it. But I decided to extend it. So I decided to come when he goes home after a month, come to Cambodia. I found Workaway, if anyone's heard of that, like where I kind of go to somebody's house or their hotel or their resort, whatever. Like it's all kind of all different forms of accommodation or just places to sleep. And I help them around with whatever they're doing. And they let me stay with them. They feed me. And so what I've been doing is painting murals for everybody. So far I have 2 done, and I'm expecting to do about at least another 7 murals, at least, probably more. So that's, so anyways, I decided to take that risk, and I mean, not necessarily the Workaway being the risk, the traveling being the risk of just, it's kind of a scary thing to do. I never really thought of myself as somebody who would just go and solo travel. I'm a pretty social person. I like to be around people. I like to so I feel like if I was to go and do this, I mean, I definitely saw myself traveling, but with somebody else. So either with my partner, with my friend, or I could see myself going with maybe one other person, maybe not a whole group traveling for a long time, but having somebody with me had always felt like something that I would like better. And so I kind of planned it accordingly to that a little bit. I invited other people to meet me out here, but even in the times that I have been alone and solo traveling, and I think there may be many points of that in this trip, it's kind of all up in the air, but that's been so amazing. I'm so happy that I did it. I wouldn't have met the same people, or at least maybe I would have met them, but I wouldn't have really connected with them the way that I did, the way that I'm still doing. I'm having one-on-one time with people from different countries and different areas of the world, and just coming together and just building beautiful new friendships where there's just 2 people who literally don't know anything about each other, but then also, can talk as if they've known each other forever. It seems like that's the kind of people I'm attracting, and I love it. So I took the risk to come out here. I thought about it, I had a bit of an epiphany on it, and just decided, let's just quit my job. I'm graduating, great time to do it. I'm just gonna quit my job and go traveling for a year or whatever. And I thought it was a little bit crazy. I doubted myself for sure. Things came in like, well, you're going to miss Evan. You're going to miss your mom. Like, how you can't do this kind of thing. Obviously seeds of doubt came in, and I just didn't think that, and I thought it was crazy. But I decided to go for it anyways, because let's take risks. I definitely get the risk taking thing from my mom. Like, she likes to take risks too. And I've always seen her, like, she loves to like kind of live on the edge and take risks because, that's just how you grow as a person. I'll get more into that later. But yeah, so I think that probably had a lot to do with me taking the risk to come out here. And thank God for that. Yeah, and so along the lines of, growing as a person and taking the risk. So a story that goes with that is, I explained a little bit of this on the live, but that's actually the way that I got Evan to start dating me is, yes, I got him to start dating me. I was in love with him for like a year and a half before we started dating. And I was like, Mom, like, I can't get over him. Of course, I go to my mom for everything. I was like, Mom, I can't get over Evan. Like, what am I supposed to do? He liked me back, but didn't want to ruin our friendship, and all that, whatever. And we just kind of sat in that for a long time. And then, my mom had the genius advice, which was, you're not taking risks, you're not growing as a person, you're just actually shrinking. If you're not taking risks, you're kind of going backwards, from what I got from that. And so I said the same thing to Evan, like the next day. I was like, hey, just basically repeated exactly what she said to me. I was like, this is what my mom said, what do you think? And he said, yeah, you're right, okay, let's do it, let's start dating. And we've been together ever since. And so I like to tell that story because, it's just hilarious that one little piece of advice can just totally shift everything. And this piece of advice would just take risks, because you're definitely not gonna, like, even if you do something, like, you take the risks and things blow up in your face. Well, when you're old, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but when you're old and dying, what are you gonna regret? Not taking risks or taking risks? I think everyone can agree that you're probably going to regret not taking risks and taking chances and doing things that could really result in a really amazing life. So that's one story on that. I mean, and then another thing is, I listened to I heard about a research study of people who would go jump out of airplanes and parachute skydiving. And they did a survey of these people and actually asked them, like, at what point were you so scared? Or at what point did you feel fear when you were doing this? And they said they felt fear just up until jumping out, right up until that moment. But as soon as they jumped out, they were fine. They were so happy, actually. They were more happy than they could have ever been. Just pure adrenaline, pure joy, and obviously looking at the world from that perspective, flying out of in thin air, like, amazing. The fear was gone. So this is a really important thing to understand, is like, you're only feeling the fear up until you actually do the thing. So if you're fearing taking the risk to go and travel the world, or fearing, quitting your job, or fearing whatever it is, you're only going to fear it until you do it. Once you rip the Band-Aid off, you have nothing to fear anymore. And you probably aren't going to. You're going to feel whatever the next emotion is, but it's not going to be fear, most likely. So maybe that inspires you to just take more chances and to realize when, yes, okay, fear's here, fear's good, keeps me safe. Throughout evolution, we need to be fearful of things, but don't let it run your life, and don't let it be the reason that you are stuck because you're scared to move forward, because your life is way too short to be living in fear, for sure. So go jump out of the airplane. Trust me, it's gonna be great. Like, it's even, like I said, even if you fuck up, or if you make the wrong decision, this is what will lead into the next part, which is, even if you make the wrong decision, like, this is how I see it. What's meant to be will be. So how I live my life, and oh my gosh, like literally this comes up into every conversation I've had out here. This is just pivotal in my faith in my life. It started out as like a kind of a Christianity thing. Like I was raised a Christian, and I do believe in God. The Christianity part of my religion is kind of, I wouldn't say I really resonate as much with that as I used to, but it's just, for me, it's about God. Like I believe in God. I pray every day, this kind of thing. And I trust that whether you believe in God or not, you can call it whatever you want, you know, the universe, like angels, whatever it is, like if you believe in a higher power. But even if you don't, like, I think that it's still possible for you to be open to the idea that, like, whatever happens was part of the plan. So some would say God's plan, some would say, like, your soul is kind of already all-knowing, it's part of the universe, like, this is a big concept, but at the end of the day, it boils down to, like, what I believe is that everything that's happened so up until this point was meant to happen for me. It brought me to where I am today, made me who I am now. You can probably agree with that in your own life, right? So if that makes sense, then, I mean, going forward, like, that's just how it's going to keep going. So as long as I'm using my intuition to make big decisions and, just continuing to take risks, even if and when, of course, things are always going to go wrong, and you may feel like you made the wrong choice, or, you know, you might lose things or whatever. That's bound to happen, but it may seem like a loss, but it actually is not. Like, it's bringing you to, it's just like if you get cut off from another opportunity, it's just that opportunity wasn't meant for you. Okay, great, next. It opens the door to a new thing. I was just reading a book or listening to a book on Audible from Matthew McConaughey. He wrote this book called Green Lights, and it's basically a memoir of his life, but like what I got from the story, which is kind of the main part of the story, which is green lights, red lights, yellow lights. Essentially green lights, I should have brushed up on this before recording this, but anyways, the green lights are basically like, okay, like a life event or a thing that happens that allows you to move forward. Kind of a door opens. Think of it like that. That's a green light. So, you know, you get a new job. Okay, green light, go forward. If you just decide to take that job or something like that. Now there's red lights, there's yellow lights. I can't remember exactly what the yellow lights mean, but kind of like a stop, a pause, whatever. But the red lights I know are like big things that happen that may seem negative, like you lose your job, or you know, somebody passes away, or something that just really like stops you abruptly in your life. And he was saying, like, things will appear to be yellow lights or red lights. They may seem to stop you or get in your way of what it is that you plan for your life. But in the big picture, those are actually green lights most of the time. I think, for me, like, I think everything is a green light. Even the horrible things that happen to me or to anybody. I think that it's all part of the plan. It's all green lights. Without this red light, the other green light would not have been able to present itself to me. So when you if you start to think of life like this red light, green light thing, or even like, I mean, I always felt this way, but now I kind of have a better picture of it because of the way he illustrated it. Like, you know, if something comes up and it seems like a red light, or if you're trying to make a decision and you don't know, like, take the risk. And even if something bad happens, if you feel like you lost something from this decision, just think of it as a green light. Okay, it seems like a red light, but I don't think so. I think it's actually like, okay, let's see what green light comes out of this. Because when you look back in like 5, 10, however many years, you can really see that red thread. Some people call it like a red thread. Like, you see, oh, okay, but if I hadn't met this person, then I wouldn't have gone to this place, and I wouldn't have met that person, and this so and so and so on. This red thread connects all of these major life pivotal moments, and those are all green lights pushing you to the next one. And so that's what I got from that book. And that's really, that's exactly how I see everything in life. So I have like just an endless amount of faith in my life, in my success. I literally feel like my success is inevitable. Like I'm going to have whatever I want. I know, I'm just beyond trusting of the universe. I mean, I've always been very spiritual and very trusting, and I was kind of raised this way, which is why I'm able to embody it so much right now. But it's never too late to start like thinking this way, or just plant seeds. There's some birds chirping outside, and they actually sound like R2-D2. So, I mean, I might cut some of it out if I can, but if you can hear it, I wake up to these birds every morning, and they literally sound like robots, like R2-D2 from Star Wars. Okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but I was coming to the end. Yeah, so, this just embodying the mindset of this is all going to work out. Everything works out. So even if you're in a terrible situation right now, I hope that you can one day see it as a green light. Maybe even today. You can see where you're at now, because I think where any of you guys are right now is a green light in some way or another. So yeah, I've just been seeing everything as a green light. So it's a lot easier for me to not worry about things. Like, I don't worry that things are going to go wrong, because I just know that everything is going to go right in the end. And everything is happening just as it's meant to. And I'm really blessed to feel this way. Okay, let's see what else I've written down here. I think I need to get better at paying attention to my couple notes that I write down to remember. The first 2 episodes, I just completely winged it. I mean, I had notes, just point form notes of what I want to talk about, and I just completely threw them out the window. But this time I want to, because I keep forgetting to say things in the episodes. But anyways, I have a quote written down. I think this is from, might not be from Greenlights. I didn't write who said it, so yeah, forgive me. But the quote itself is, "Courage is the price that life extracts for granting peace." So I loved that quote, because I made a courageous decision to leave my life, literally close every open, like tie up every loose end, like completely like just close every chapter of my life at home, and just leave everybody where they are and just go do my own thing, find myself in Southeast Asia and New Zealand, and that took courage, because it's actually been like, there's been times, like I mentioned in the last episode, there's been times where I felt at my lowest that I felt in a long time, due to being alone and being scared in a city where I don't know anybody, don't know the language, don't know the currency, like very scary stuff. I have to be courageous to do this stuff alone, especially as a woman traveling. Like, that's, of course, I can see why a lot of people would be afraid of doing that. And I was one of those people. I was scared to do this. I never thought that I would do it. But as a lot of you have heard, I have been experiencing more peace than I literally could ever imagine. So that quote perfectly represents my life right now. Courage is the price that life extracts for granting peace. So if you're going to be courageous today, well, you'll get some peace in the end of that. And it's going to feel good. Like, even if, you don't have to be basking in the sun and painting every day and meditating every day and living on the beach and doing all of these amazing dreamy things. Like, you can just be still like doing the same thing. But if you just take one extra risk that day, like, just think about how much better you're going to feel about yourself. It can be something tiny like that. Just like, you start small. You don't have to throw your life away, leave your husband, go be a gypsy. Like, I mean, you don't have to do that, but baby steps. But if you feel called to do it, like, trust your intuition. I think a lot of it has to do with that. If something comes up to you in your mind that you think, like, it just seeps its way in there. For me, this tends to happen. Like, I'll just have a thought and it won't leave my mind. And I usually wait a week and like, okay, it's been a week. I'm not being emotional about it anymore. I'm actually thinking about it, and I thought about it, and okay, I'm going to do it. That's what I did with this travel when I decided to quit my job. Like, it took me a week. So yeah, like, whatever works for you, but really you just gotta, like, it'll help you practice your intuition and using your intuition to make choices that are life altering, essentially, to bring those green lights up to the surface. So it's a lot to practice, but it's really worth it in the end. Like, you only have one life to live, so just go do it. Like, any risk or any opportunity that comes up. Like, I've actually been practicing this a bit, like, kind of being like a yes man, a yes woman. And whenever an opportunity arises, I tend to say yes. Like, if especially when it was like art related, like at home before traveling, when I would be offered to do a live painting or like an art competition, I did quite a few of those like over the last year, and some of them I didn't want to go to. Like, I didn't actually like one. It's like a lot of the time I was really busy, obviously full-time student, like just a million things on my to-do list, so I didn't want to commit to another thing. But I said yes because it was an opportunity. So I mean, you don't have to say yes to everything because obviously you don't want to like overwork yourself. But when an opportunity arises, like, there's a difference between saying yes to like going and smoking weed with your friends or going partying or whatever. I don't know, like going and doing something like that's not really like a huge risk. It's just kind of like going and doing something. But if it's an opportunity, think about it like, okay, what's the opportunity here? Then yeah, I mean, say yes, because it's a theory that I learned in school, actually. It's like called the theory of happenstance, and I need to brush up on it. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on happenstance, but he's a career counselor, career advisor, the guy who created this theory, and he says like kids need to be told to take advantage, kids need to be encouraged to try everything and not be set on what they think that they want. Like, this happened with me. I wanted to be a police officer starting at age 10. I had tunnel vision for the next 10 years of my life until the last few years. That's a perfect example. Like, I wish I had tried more things, figured out who I really am, what I really want to do in this world, like all of that. I don't even know how I ended up here, but yeah, like so just taking every opportunity that comes your way is one of the things that he says is really good for kids to do, or just for people to do as they grow up. Like, if an opportunity arises, take it. Kind of like what I've been saying is like, yeah, okay, if things go wrong, that's fine. You're still one step closer than you were before to getting where you need to be, because you can't stay stuck forever. It's kind of the basis of his theory, but there's a lot more about it that I find really interesting. That was actually like just one of the most amazing theories in general that I learned in my studies. So I definitely want to talk more about that. So now I guess I have 41 topics. Yeah, so, okay. Now, looking over my notes, I think I actually did it all. I talked about every point that I had written down. I'm sure I'll think of more after this is done, but oh my gosh, half an hour episode. I'm so proud of myself right now. I found it really difficult the first 2 times filming for this podcast. Like, I thought I was talking forever, and it was less than 10 minutes both times. So now I've been talking for half an hour, and so I'm clearly getting so much better already, and wow, okay, very exciting. I'm so happy. Okay, hopefully these birds didn't get in the way of my voice too much, but we'll just have to go with the flow, because yeah, we'll see if I can edit it out. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in again, and for being here on my journey and listening to my voice, and yeah, taking in whatever I have to say. I really appreciate it. Whether you're here to actually gain something, or whether you're here just to hear my voice because you miss me and I'm away, I hope that it does something for you. I hope that it brings just some sort of joy into your life, to any extent. I just want to brighten your day a little bit and maybe inspire you to take more risks. That's the theme of the day. Take risks. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll leave you and I will see you in a week. Thank you so much for joining. And my next mission is to get some funky music put on this podcast, to make it official, like get my own little theme song going. Maybe not funky. I thought about funky, but I'm also thinking about maybe putting some like frequency noises. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to see what I find there. But hopefully for next week we'll do that. But yeah. Thank you so much again, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.